Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn exception handling in Python. Exception handling is important because errors can happen while a program is running. Instead of letting the program crash, we can handle the error and show a clear message. We start with zero division error. In this example, the code tries to divide a number by 0. Python does not allow division by 0, so the output shows a zero division error message. Because we use exception handling, the notebook does not stop. It prints a simple explanation saying that a number cannot be divided by 0. Next, we look at type error. This happens when we use the wrong data types together. In the example, the code tries to add a number and text directly. Python cannot add an integer and a string like that, so the output shows a type error. The message explains that we need compatible data types. Then we see NameError. This happens when we try to use a variable that was never created. The output says that the variable name is not defined. This teaches us that variables must be assigned before we use them. After that, we learn ValueError. In this example, the code tries to convert the word 20 into a number. Python understands number strings like 20, but not a word like 20. So the output shows ValueError and explains that the value is not valid for integer conversion. Next is IndexError. The list has 3 items, but the code tries to access an index that is outside the list. Since that position does not exist, the output shows IndexError. This reminds us that list indexes must stay within the valid range. Now we move into actual exception handling using try and except. In the first try except example, no error happens. The output shows the starting message, the result of the calculation, the completion message, and then the code after the try except block. This proves that when the try block is safe, Python runs it normally. In the next example, an error does happen. The code starts a risky calculation and then divides by 0. Python jumps to the except block and prints the custom error message. The line after the try except block still runs, which shows that exception handling lets the program continue. Then we use multiple specific except blocks. The code divides by 0, so Python chooses the zero division error block. The output shows the real error and a friendly message saying 0 is not a valid divisor. This is better than using only one generic except block because it tells us exactly what went wrong. After that, we handle more than one error type in the same except block. The code tries to combine a number with text, so it creates a type error. The output comes from the combined ValueError and TypeError block. This is useful when different errors should be handled in the same way. Next, we use a generic exception block. The division works, but then the code tries to print a variable that does not exist. That creates a NameError. Since the earlier except blocks do not match it, the generic exception block catches it. The output shows the division result, then the generic error message, and then the final message. Now we learn how to raise an exception manually. The example checks a student age. If the age is below 18, the code raises a ValueError. The output says the student is disqualified and gives the reason. This shows how we can create our own rules in a program. Then we create a custom exception class. The output confirms that the custom exception class was created. A custom exception is useful when we want our program to have a specific error name for a specific situation. After that, we use the custom exception. The student age is below 18, so the code raises the custom age exception. The output says the student is disqualified and explains the reason. This makes the error more meaningful for the business rule. At the end, the notebook prints that the exception handling examples are completed. This final output tells us the notebook reached the end successfully. So, to recap, exception handling helps Python programs deal with errors safely. We learned about common errors, try except blocks, specific except blocks, combined except blocks, generic exceptions, raising errors manually, and creating custom exceptions. The main thing to remember is that errors are normal in programming. Good Python code does not just fail when something goes wrong. It handles the problem clearly and keeps the program controlled. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and keep practicing Python step by step.